Hi, and welcome to Acronis, our information security series. Today, we're going to be discussing malware. So we're going to discuss what exactly is malware, trends in ransomware, potential signs that you've been hit, what are some incident response steps that you're supposed to take, and then tips for malware and recovery. My name is Steve Brining. I'm a partner technology evangelist here at Acronis. I'm with the company for about 4 years. I've been in the cybersecurity industry for about 25 years, mostly on the manufacturing side for software, and I'm currently a commanding officer in the Arizona Army National Guard. So what is malware? Well, if you take the words malicious software, mal, and then ware is in there, and that's how you get it. It's any program or file wanting to be harmful to a computer or user or company, damaging devices, stealing data, or causing some kind of chaos. Now, there's different types of malware out there. There's ransomware, viruses. I can go through the list here. Trojan horses, spyware, keyloggers, botnets. Today, we're going to focus a lot on ransomware because that's the most common and one of the most dangerous. So we're going to be talking about ransomware trends there. Now, keep in mind, malware did start back in the 1960s. Hackers back then created viruses for displaying harmless messages that spread to their computers. When you got to the late 80s, well, things started to get nasty there. The first example of a damaging virus that was called the Vienna virus, it corrupted data and destroyed files. That led to the first antivirus program out there. But at this point, because ransomware is the most common and dangerous, we're going to talk about ransomware trends. Keep in mind that malware is about the intended use, not the technology or the technique. So, trends in ransomware. Fewer targets for attack, but higher ransomware payments. There's also ransomware as a service out there. People that don't even know how to develop ransomware can go to a service and get information and get software to deploy it for ransomware. And remote workers are a target. Recently, there was a ransomware attack that happened with Kaseya. They do IT solutions for MSPs. They announced that they became a victim of a supply chain attack on July 2nd, leveraging a vulnerability that was in their VSA software against multiple MSPs. They were able to quickly come out with a release a couple of days later to fix the vulnerability as well. And there's more information about that, but just know that these attacks occur and they're very recent, and they also hurt service providers out there. So, trends in ransomware. Ransomware not just encrypting the data, it's sold or leaked to cause damage to reputation to companies, as well as legal and regulatory fines. There's an extort with promise not to release the information out there. A ransom payment to not release the data. I saw that with the University of Utah, paid $457,000 at one point to make sure that the information wasn't leaked out there. They didn't necessarily care about getting the data back. They just wanted to make sure that the thieves did not release the data. Going after the backup agent and data, they search for the connected data sources, and then they encrypt the backup copies. So attacking the backup agent and then trying to get to especially cloud services is one trend that's happening in ransomware. So let's talk about some signs that you've been hit. Of course, with ransomware, if you get a message for a ransom payment, probably got hit. Slow device performance, there's many pop-up ads that happen, browser redirects, infection warnings, buy to fix this, challenges starting or shutting down devices. Now, this is for malware overall to show potential signs that you might have been hit. So, when you've been hit, you need to know how you will handle an incident. Is it going to be in-house? Is it going to be third party? Is it a combination? You got to make sure that you have clear rules and responsibilities in place on the incident handling instructions. So the first phase is preparation. You got to know what to do before something happens. So you're in front of the systems when attacked and thinking of a course of action. It's probably not the best plan. Select your incident plan team. Report the mechanisms. Communicate the plans out there and have software in place to utilize when an incident occurs. Next, identification. Gather the data and analyze it. Determine if an incident did in fact occur. You have to calmly assess the situation. It's not going to help anybody. if you are stressful in the situation. So calmly assess it. Be ready to communicate out there. Handle the evidence properly, proper chain of custodies, and because there could be possible legal challenges later if you don't handle the evidence properly. Then containment. The goal is to prevent further damage. If an incident did occur, likely some damage has happened somewhere. So you want to contain the damage not to spread to other systems, networks, or the data. Disconnect network and or power cables. Modify your firewall rules and also change DNS information. If the spread has stopped, make a backup copy for analysis, also a second copy for forensics analysis. Got to make sure you have a forensic backup. Is the system to remain in production? Well, you got to have additional containment efforts. So the intention of this is to temporarily keep systems up while building another system or decision for long-term plan for a compromised system. Then you have eradication. Can be challenging to completely removal of the code and data left by the intruder. Also requires a complete closure of holes used by the attacker. You have to have a cause of the incident to understand that first. Then the system rebuild from a known good backup copy. If you do not have a backup, then you're going to have to build the system from scratch, including the operating system. Now, recovery. You want to have your operations return to normal. System rebuilt, you have to revalidate that information that it is in fact good for production. Got to verify the system is secure to make sure that it's not going to have the same or similar attack. And then you have to do a lessons learned program from this. Evaluate the incident afterwards. What caused this situation? Configure the systems to make sure it does not happen again. Understand the laws around disclosures and breaches. The reporting is to describe an incident and actions moving forward. Just want to make sure you don't prevent a repeat of things. In the military, we have a thing called an AAR, an after action review. And part of that is lessons learned. So tips for malware and recovery. You have to train your users how to recognize common attacks out there. You have to provide a system or method to report suspicious activity. We have a saying in the military, see something, say something. Also, social engineering vulnerabilities. We have another video series that talks about social engineering, but also train users on social engineering attacks. Know where your important files are. Which applications are going to be critical to you? Where is data in order to operate? And also try to do a business impact assessment. Also, mail server filtering. Filter your messages and attachments for suspicious items. Now, you want to train often. Not sure what that means to you. That could be quarterly. That could be in Zoom meetings. But remember, security is a responsibility of everybody. It is a team effort. Backup critical files and choose a reliable backup service provider. Develop a plan on recovering if needed, when to recover, who will do it, and what to recover. Test the recovery plan. Does it meet your RTO's recovery time objectives and RPO's recovery point objectives? Disaster recovery option along with backup? You might want to think about that. Define your frequency and methods to use for testing the plan. Monitor your critical files. Do you have file integrity monitoring? Do this also for your backup locations, and then changes to backup files, document and research those. Update patches and require a VPN or virtual private network for all remote access. Require antivirus and anti-malware software on all computers and devices. Keep them up to date and run scheduled scans, and also have firewall rules with rule sets that are restrictive. Have a team in place for the incident response. Know the roles of each individual and clearly define them, part of the testing team. Recover only what is needed in order to improve your recovery time objective. Granular recoveries or software recoveries for you in the process. You have to think about these things. Do not trust an untested plan. Have different recovery intensity levels. Keep in mind, the more you go in intensity, risk increases, so carefully plan this. It's a balancing act. And with that, I hope you understand what malware is, what the different types of malware are, and tips for recovery and how to handle things. Thanks for watching.